3 years ago today, I was in the worst place mentally. And I'm not talking about some kind of dramatic life crisis that happened to me. I'm talking about that slow, soul crushing realization that I was completely wasting my potential. I had this routine, if you could even call it that. I'd wake up at like 1 p.m., sometimes 2, and the first thing I do is just go on my phone and scroll through TikTok. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, all that garbage. And just mindlessly consuming all of this brain rot for hours. I'd finally drag myself out of bed, maybe around 3 or 4. I'd eat some random food, play video games until 3 a.m., and I'll repeat it all the next day. And here's the thing. I knew I was wasting my life. Every single day, I'd go to bed feeling like trash, thinking tomorrow I'm going to be different. I'm going to make some kind of change. I have to. But tomorrow would come and I'd fall right back into the same pattern. If this sounds familiar to you, just know you're not alone. There's genuinely an epidemic right now of guys our age who are just stuck. We're not taking action on anything meaningful. We're scrolling through other people's highlight reels instead of building our own lives. We're choosing comfort over growth, and then wondering why we feel so empty and purposeless. I think it all comes down to one thing. We've lost the ability to be disciplined. We've gotten so comfortable with instant gratification that we've forgotten how good it feels to actually work towards something and see progress. And here's what I learned after months of living like this. Discipline isn't about being perfect or having superhuman willpower. It's about creating systems that make it easier to do the right thing than the wrong thing. And once you start seeing results from those systems, everything changes. And you know what really got me? It's the fact that some of my peers who graduated with me in my class were out doing grand things. They were starting up businesses. They were working at really top tech companies. And I'm looking at myself thinking, why didn't I do any of that? Why am I not the one out there doing what I can to make the most amount of money and to fulfill the potential that I had for myself? I know a lot of people say comparison is the thief of joy, but realistically, comparison can really light a fire under you that can make you push towards the best version of yourself. So I used that comparison for my own sake, for my own benefit. I realized I had two choices. I could keep scrolling through other people's success stories, or I could start writing my own. And that night, I decided I was done being a spectator in my own life. It was time to take action. So let me share the 3 steps that completely turned my life around. This is exactly what I did to go from that guy rotting in bed to someone who actually feels excited about each day. And I'm going to be brutally honest about what worked and what didn't. Step 1 is building a basic routine. And when I say basic, I really do mean basic. We're not trying to become Navy SEALs overnight. We just want to start on the right foot. So I want you guys to start with the fundamentals that your body and mind actually need to function properly. For me, it started with 3 non-negotiables. Sleep at the same time every night, eat meals at consistent times, and make my bed every morning. That's it. It sounds stupidly simple, right? But here's what happens. Your brain starts getting those small dopamine hits from completing each task, those really small wins in the day, and that momentum, it builds. It continues to build and it motivates you. And let me tell you about the first week that I actually tried this. I set my alarm for 7 a.m. I was excited. I was thinking that my whole life is gonna change. And let me tell you, waking up at 7 is insane after continuously waking up past noon every day before that. So that first day, you already goddamn know I pressed snooze and I never woke up for 7 a.m. The second day, same thing. Third day, same thing. It's just too difficult. How can a man wake up at 7 a.m. after always waking up at 1 or 2 p.m., right? But that fourth day, something clicked. I started waking up naturally and I actually felt good, genuinely rested instead of groggy and guilty. So after a couple of days of waking up on time, I started to upgrade my habits. I now told myself that once I wake up, I'm not going to go on my phone for at least 30 minutes. And that's exactly what I did. I would wake up, no doom scrolling, and I would start my day. I even started going on walks. And let me tell you, that was a game changer. Your circadian rhythm runs on light exposure. So when you get natural light early in the day, your body knows that's the time that it needs to be awake and alert. And now that I'm already awake, this is a perfect opportunity to eat a fulfilling breakfast. One thing I really want to make a note of is that once you start getting on a roll of doing good habits, it becomes insurmountably easier to do the next good habit. So what started as me just trying to wake up on time became a streak of positive habits that I accumulated, all because I started with one good habit. The initial plan was just to wake up on time, but because I was already awake on time, I can now do a lot more things in the day. And this is the point that I'm really trying to drive home to you guys. For now, you only need to worry about step 1. Step 2 and 3 and 4 will follow as a result of developing good habits, but you need to start with step 1. So that's step 1. Just build a basic routine, and this will serve as your foundation for the days to come. So now on to step 2, which is focusing on identity, not results. A friend of mine told me something that completely changed how I approach my goals. He said instead of trying to be the guy with the six-pack, be the guy who goes to the gym consistently. Instead of trying to be the guy with lots of money, be the guy who works hard and never gives up on improving himself. This hit me hard because I realized I was doing everything backwards. I was so focused on outcomes that I was ignoring the process. Like, I'd go to the gym for 2 weeks, not see visible abs, and then quit because it wasn't working. But then I shifted to becoming someone who prioritizes their health instead of looking to just get my abs instantly. Every workout became proof of that identity, regardless of how I look. When I started this YouTube channel, I wasn't thinking I need to hit 1 million subscribers. I was thinking that I want to be known as someone who has a plan and actually follows through on it. I wanted to be the guy who's consistent and who takes initiative, one who turns his ideas into reality. Here's a practical example. Let's say you want to read more books, right? The result-focused approach, I would say, is maybe I want to read 50 books this year. That could be kind of intimidating and it might scare you a little bit. And every day you don't finish a book, it feels like you're already behind. You're playing catch up. But the identity-focused approach is I'm becoming someone who reads daily. Now, reading for 15 minutes is a win because it reinforces that identity as opposed to just chasing that goal of 50 books in a year. I started applying this in almost everything that I do in my day-to-day life. The crazy thing is, when you truly believe that you are that person, acting like it becomes second nature. And the reason why it works is because when you're more results driven, when you're chasing the results, every day that you don't see massive progress, it feels like a failure. It's like you haven't accomplished anything. But when you're focused on becoming a certain type of person, every small action now that you take is proof that you're already becoming that person. Psychology plays a huge role in this. Every time that you do something that aligns with your desired identity, it's like you're rewiring your brain. You're creating neural pathways that make it easier to act that way in the future. So you're not just building habits, you're building a new version of yourself. And the last step of becoming the best version of yourself is getting proper sleep and nutrition. And in the back of your mind, you're probably thinking like, is it that important for me to actually sleep well and eat well? Because you've probably been living your entire life without giving a care or a thought to that. You've been able to manage through life without really kind of putting a lot of focus on it. But let me tell you how much of an impact it can make when you fuel your body with the right sources of energy and give it the proper rest it needs. I remember when I was in my dark period, I was going to bed super early in the morning, sometimes staying up until sunrise, scrolling, playing games. You already know how it goes. And then I'd sleep until like 2 p.m. the next day, and I'm waking up feeling like I got hit by a truck. I'd spend the whole day in this weird brain fog state, and I've never really felt awake or alert during those times. But then when I started sleeping 8 hours a night consistently, it was like someone turned on a light switch in my brain. My mood instantly improved, my motivation went through the roof, and I stopped getting those afternoon crashes where I'd want to take like those 3-hour naps. So here's specifically what I did to make sure that this happened. I set a non-negotiable bedtime of 10 p.m. and I made sure I stuck to it. Even though that there was a motive happening in the nighttime, I would make sure that I was in bed at 10 p.m. and I was sleeping. Then I'd put my phone in a completely different room because I didn't want to be staying up doom scrolling. And lastly, I got blackout curtains to keep my room cool and dark. And I'll be so honest, that first week was rough. I'd lie there wide awake thinking about everything I could be doing instead. But slowly as I adjusted, week 2, I started naturally getting tired around 9:30. I would wake up naturally before my alarm most days, and I would actually feel energized during the day instead of needing cups of coffee to function. And the same thing goes with your nutrition. I used to eat whatever was convenient, fast food for lunch because I was too busy to cook, energy drinks to get through the afternoon slumps, and random snacks when I'm working, chips and all that. I thought I was saving time, but I was actually making everything harder because my energy was constantly crashing throughout the day. Now I meal prep on Sundays. It's nothing fancy. I make my chicken, my rice, and my vegetables. I I have some fruits on the side as well, and I make sure that I eat protein with every meal. And I make sure to keep hydrated. I'm always drinking water throughout the day. I've got my big hydro flask around with me all the time to help me continuously drink water throughout the day. And the difference is just so insane. I don't even know how to explain it to you guys, how much of an impact it makes to just eat clean and sleep well. Our bodies are like the vehicles that drive us through life. If you wouldn't give your gasoline powered vehicle diesel, then why are we giving our bodies sugary drinks, fast food, oily snacks? High performance in every field, whether it's athletes, entrepreneurs, or artists, they all prioritize sleep and nutrition because they know it's the foundation for everything else. And the way that all of these different factors work off of each other and just keep compounding on their benefits is crazy. When you start sleeping better, you have more energy for workouts. When you work out regularly, you sleep better. When you eat proper meals, your mood is more stable, which makes it easier to stick to your routine. It's essentially a positive feedback loop that gets more efficient over time. But the opposite is completely true. When you start sleeping terribly, you don't want to work out. When you're not exercising, your sleep quality suffers. When you eat junk, your energy crashes, so you reach for more junk food. It becomes a downward spiral that's very hard to break out of. This is the negative feedback loop. I remember about a month into implementing all of these changes, I had this moment where I realized I hadn't felt anxious or sad in weeks. Not because my life circumstances dramatically changed, but because my body and brain were finally getting what they needed to function properly. When it comes to making the right decisions in life, we all generally have an idea of what we need to do. Anything that I mentioned in this video, you're already aware of. You know that you should be eating right and having a good morning routine and sleeping well. These are all things that we're all familiar with. We know the right answer. The difficult part is to implement it in our lives and stay consistent with it. The version of me 2 years ago couldn't even imagine the feeling and motivation that I currently have each and every day. But it didn't happen because I was special or because I have some secret willpower that you don't. It happened because I stopped making excuses and I started making changes. You didn't press on this video to learn anything new. You press on this video because you know deep within yourself there's a lot of discipline that you're lacking and you need to implement in your life to become even better, greater than what you are today. So here's the challenge that I'm going to set out for you. Just pick one of the 3 steps that I mentioned in this video. Either it's build a nice solid morning routine, change your identity, or commit to your health. And do it for the next 14 days. You don't need to try and do them all at once because maybe you'll burn out. You know yourself better than anyone else. Just pick one, focus on it, and see the changes that happens. That's all for today. You better stop watching these YouTube videos about changing your life and actually change it. I believe in you. But more importantly, you need to start believing in yourself. It's been your boy Sanchino. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.